Welcome to another episode of Cannabis Health Radio. I'm Ian Jessup.
And I'm Corey Yelland.
Our guest today once believed that cannabis was an addictive drug that would ruin your life. But when a tragic event occurred in her life and pharmaceutical drugs weren't working to help her through it, a relative got her to try cannabis and her life changed forever. When she was diagnosed with tumors in her hips, she refused surgery and instead used cannabis oil. She is such a believer in cannabis that she has developed a revolutionary new CBD product for the eyes called See Better Daily. And joining us from Chicago is Gina Epps. Gina, thanks for doing this, and thanks for telling your story. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Before trying cannabis, you were really one of those people who thought marijuana was this evil, addictive drug that would ruin lives, right?
Well, sure, the devil's lettuce, right? How could I not?
Devil's lettuce. I like that.
That's very good. Devil's lettuce. Now, take us through the story of your father's sudden death and the impact that had on you.
Okay, it was 1 year after I graduated high school. I got a degree in physical education and health. I was getting ready to teach. I thought I had the world by the booty. And my dad had went into the hospital for some routine tests. He was having some issues with his heart, some heart-related issues, and he went in for testing, and we got a call 8 hours after he was in the hospital that he went into cardiac arrest. We rushed there. He had already passed. He was only 54 years old. I mean, it just completely destroyed our lives, just completely tore everything upside down, as you can imagine. So I, fell into this deep depression. I had to do just ungodly amount of adult things that I was not even remotely ready for after just getting out of college. My mom, was just lost it. I mean, she completely lost it. It was just heartbreaking. So I turned to the doctors thinking, they could help, and they helped me by getting me ungodly addicted to Xanax and Valium. I could not function. I walked around in a daze all day, every day, head in the clouds, didn't know if I was coming or going, and knew I couldn't continue living like this, and something had to change, and I didn't know what, and my cousins, God love them, who had been desperately trying to get me to try cannabis for, 4 or 5 years at this point. They'd already been trying because my anxiety levels were through the roof, and I had no way of controlling that at such a young age, just didn't know what to do. I was just having major issues. And they introduced me to cannabis. She sat me down, rolled a joint. I had never smoked anything, never tried a cigarette, never did anything in my life. And the feeling was indescribable. I didn't feel like most people would call high. I didn't feel high. I didn't feel this crazy feeling I was so scared of. I felt like my body evened out. I felt like I finally felt how I should feel, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that. Gina, I looked up Xanax and some of the side effects of Xanax, and I was quite shocked at how many side effects there are. These are common side effects. There's drowsiness, tiredness, dizziness, sleep problems, memory problems, poor balance or coordination, slurred speech, trouble concentrating, irritability, diarrhea, constipation, increased sweating, headache, nausea, vomiting, upset stomach, blurred vision, appetite or weight changes, swelling in your hands and feet, muscle weakness, dry mouth, stuffy nose, and sexual problems.
And other than that, you'll feel great.
Right, but you'll so much less anxiety. Thank you.
And I'm reading that and I think, my God, if you just took cannabis, you wouldn't have any of those problems.
Right, then your side effects is you feel incredible, you might need a snack, and you might have a good night's sleep that night. It's just night and day.
That's incredible. Now, you were a teacher. Tell us about your teaching career and how that came to an abrupt end.
Oh, my goodness. So I was 15 years into teaching PE and health. I was at a high school. I had already been at that high school for 10 straight years. I got a little gutsier. I started talking about hemp in class. I started, I became a vocal activist in 2012, and not everybody appreciated that, but I tell people what I think. That's just how I am. And I had this platform. I was a teacher. I was a health teacher, and I had these kids that sat in front of me every day and listened and wanted to learn. So I taught them, and I would bring in hemp protein and hemp oil and hemp seeds and my hemp oil soaps and show them this is not an evil drug. This is something that can change our entire life if we let it. It's a different way of thinking. Well, that got around to the administration, and all of a sudden I was in meetings with the athletic director and the vice principal and the principal and all these people because I was pushing drugs on the kids, and so I had to educate these six-figure-a-year people who are running school districts who don't know the difference between smoking a blunt and hemp seeds, hemp oil, and hemp protein. And in their head it was all the same thing. So even though I tried desperately to educate these people who had 10 times more education than I had, I was labeled that person. I was this drug person, this person who endorsed these terrible things. And next thing I know, 2 days later, I'm pulled over during my lunch break. I'm 3.5 months pregnant with our only child. I went out to grab a sandwich at lunch, got almost back to school, 1 block away from school. I get pulled over for no reason whatsoever. They got me out of the car. They searched the whole car. They tore the car apart top to bottom. They found a one-hitter that was in the bottom of the console that my husband had in there from, God knows how long, probably years it had been in the car, who knows. So they find this and just run with it. Now I have drugs in the car and paraphernalia, and they're hauling me off to jail, and, the press is there, and there's cameras and news people, and just absolutely up for grabs for no reason whatsoever. I got administrative leave at school. They gave me a paid leave while I was under investigation. I went to court, got a lawyer. All the charges were dropped. It was just a ridiculous waste of time and money, but I still ended up losing my career. And they threatened to take away my teaching certificate if I didn't resign, so I had to resign. It was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare.
So what...
And literally all because I believe in nature. That is it. That is the bottom line. I told the police at that time Illinois would have medical by 2017 and they'd be recreational by 2018, and it is all happening in front of my eyes.
I like to tell Americans who are opposed to cannabis that their constitution was written on hemp.
Thank you, voice of reason.
Well, I haven't been called a voice of reason.
I believe in the Constitution so wholeheartedly.
Yeah. So what did you do after that?
Well, I had a mild breakdown, and then I recovered, and with all honesty, it was like, F this, F them, this, I know for a fact this is going to change my life. I believe in it heart and soul. I want to scream it from the rooftops, and my husband and I started brainstorming, what can we do? How can we turn this debilitating situation into something positive where we can educate the masses and help people and get this information out there. And I just started real small. I started out making hemp oil soaps. I had them in 5 cents, and then that wasn't cutting it. That wasn't getting our itch. We weren't talking to enough people, so we stepped it up, and we ended up moving 2,000 miles away from everything we know, and we went to Washington. We became legal patients. We had a beautiful garden, and we grew, and we helped all these sick people, and then it turned out that I ended up needing help myself, and that's when I had found out about the tumors, and I ended up making my own cannabis oil and telling the doctors where to go.
What did the doctors say when you were diagnosed with tumors in your hips?
They told me not to worry because they were going to cut them out of it. Literally, don't worry, we will cut them out of you and you'll be fine. I said, no, the F you won't. Cut me open and take anything. I'll do it myself. I'll take care of it. They poo-pooed me. They laughed it off. They told me I'd be in to make an appointment to let them saw me open, and I didn't. I started making cannabis oil, and I worked myself up to 1.5 grams a day, and I had to cut back because the only side effects for me with that high a dose was I was losing weight way too quickly. Now, that's not a side effect for a lot of people, but I started to get a little too thin, and it made me a little too sick. So I had to down my dosage a little, and I went back down to 1 gram a day, still shrinking the tumors, still feeling 100% better, and now I'm just on maintenance doses. The large tumors are completely gone. I have tiny little, what they call almost after effects from the shrinking of the tumors. It leaves these almost like little pockets. So I'm still working on getting rid of all that, and I mean, I'm night and day. I'm like a completely different person. I couldn't walk. I was, 40 years old. I couldn't walk. I was doubled over in pain. I was crippled up. My husband had to help me get to the bathroom. I mean, I felt like I was 85, and now I'm a completely new person. What
did the doctor say after you got rid of them?
I really don't think they believed it. I don't think they believed how I did it. They think that, maybe it was just some tumors just go away, some cysts go away, some things just, your body just heals itself kind of thing. Like they treat me like I'm an idiot, and it's offensive, and I don't talk to them much. So I just kind of go about my way.
Did they try and encourage you to have chemotherapy at all or radiation?
They brought it up, but it was never discussed in depth because they weren't cancerous. The tumors, strangely enough, were not cancerous. They were just there and just wreaking havoc, and the pain and the side effects, you would have never known it wasn't cancer. It's the same thing without the C word. So they did talk about that, which is even more terrifying to me that was even brought up without there being any cancer. So that's how much they pushed that agenda.
Gina, your child was fairly young at the time, correct?
I was still pregnant when
you were still pregnant?
So yes, I was still, when I started having the pain, I didn't know what it was, so it just progressed, and then once I finally went to a doctor and let them start digging around, I had a bunch of false diagnoses. They told me I broke my hip. They told me that there was a hairline fracture. They told me 3 different things before I actually got to someone that did a CAT scan and actually saw the tumors. I was misdiagnosed repeatedly. So this went on for probably 6 months before I actually knew that they were tumors and what I should do.
Besides the weight loss, did you have any other side effects? Like, were you really tired? Did you sleep a lot? Anything like that?
Very sleepy, yeah, very sleepy. Real lethargic. I would definitely not recommend it for someone that lived alone. You cannot go through this regimen by yourself. You got to make sure you drink enough liquids because you'll get a little dehydrated. Think about it if you smoke a bowl and you get real thirsty type thing, only times 100. So you're real thirsty. You use the bathroom a lot. You'll get diarrhea. Because it's so much oil. You're taking so much oil, and it's literally cleaning out your body. It's like a full-body cleanse. And so I also took the serapeptase, I believe it's pronounced.
Yes.
And that is also a natural supplement. You can get it at Amazon or Walmart or anywhere, and that actually releases the dead cells from your body and helps your body remove them. Because you don't want to just shrink the tumors. You want to get rid of all the stuff that's involved in there. You want all the toxins out. You want to really flush out your system.
It's an enzyme from the silkworm, isn't it? Serapeptase, I think so.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. How are you feeling now?
Oh my gosh, like night and day. I still get pain in my hips, and I get a little limp once in a while. I know when I need more medicine. I know when I haven't had enough CBD. My body will scream at me like, fix me, get me back to where I need to be. Like, I know immediately. And, some of that's just financial. We can't always do what we need to do for ourselves, but for the most part, I would say I am 90% better. I mean, like a new person.
Gina, when you were treating these tumors, were you on a high THC product at that time or 50-50 THC CBD? What did you do?
I actually did both. I used very high THC oil and a 1-to-1 oil. I used them both every day. So it was like a mix of both. My morning dose was a high THC, and my evening dose was a 1-to-1.
Interesting.
You took a high dose of THC in the morning.
Yes, and by high dose, I mean at least a half gram to 3/4 of a gram. I would dose twice a day when I was on this regimen. So the doses were anywhere from a half gram each to 3/4 of a gram each. So I was at 1 to 1.5 grams per day.
Is there a reason that you chose to do it that way? I'm just curious because THC...
I had already been in Washington for almost a year, and I had already been growing, and I had already been helping all these patients. I've seen stage 4 chemo patients brought back like from death's door. Like they were at so many rounds of chemo that the doctors were like, listen, nothing is working. We're sending you home. Hospice will be at your house in 2 days. Kiss your family members goodbye. Enjoy your last 48 hours. I've literally seen those people come back from say goodbye to your family to months later on a beach in Hawaii. I'm not exaggerating. There was a 2-year-old girl. Her mom called me hysterical while I'm in Washington. They told me she's going to die. They told me to say goodbye. I can't lose my baby. Crying hysterically. I was like, just stop. Like, you're not going to lose your baby. Hang in there kind of thing. We got this baby cannabis oil. We overnighted it within 24 hours. I am not exaggerating. This child was walking for the first time in her life within 2 months, speaking for the first time in her life within 4 months, and out on the beach with her family within 6 months. She was 2 years old. They told her mom to say goodbye to her. So if I saw that with my own eyes, there was no way I believe that wouldn't help my own body. There was no way. No one could tell me anything different.
Wow, that's quite the story. No, I was just curious as to why you would do the THC in the day and the THC CBD at night. I would have tended for myself to have done it the other way around, to kind of just sleep through all that tiredness.
CBD for me, it makes me a little more tired, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just how my body reacts to it.
Interesting.
So for me to be able to function more during the day, I'm real good with high THC, where a lot of people wouldn't be. But for some reason, my body needs a high dose to even myself out. And I'm assuming that's because of my really intense anxiety. So I think that helps even me out, where I can still function. I might, be crazy high, but I can function and I can do what I need to do, and I can cook and I can clean and I can do all that. But at night, where I need to make my brain stop and force myself to chill out and let this medicine work and whatever, I go with the higher doses of the CBD, because it really helps with my brain, just making my brain stop. I can't turn off my brain to save my life.
Well, it's one of the things we've learned, at least I've learned doing this program, is that everyone's body is different, and everyone needs various combinations of CBD and THC. We're not all the same. It's not like taking a Xanax pill, is it? Gina, tell us about the transition that you and your husband made in developing this product, See Better Daily. Tell us about that.
The very beginning of this year, January, I was approached by a friend of mine who is a distributor and marketer and sales and whatnot in Mexico. And Mexico is a really different country. Like, their laws are real different. They're starting to kind of get into medical, but it's not available for another year. CBD is only available by prescription, so it's a real different situation. So he had come to me with this idea, there's things I want to do, but these other companies won't talk to me. I'm in Mexico. We have these different laws, and, people won't touch me kind of thing, but, I have some good ideas. So I just sat down and listened to him, and we talked, and he actually brought the idea to my attention. We need to figure out a way to do CBD eye drops, and, CBD only, where we can ship worldwide, and that way when Mexico does open up, we can get it there kind of thing. So that's where this all began. So then it was just months of research, and how do you get CBD through these layers of the eye, and how do, it's not just like your skin. It doesn't just absorb like that. Like, the eye is just such a different entity. And so it was just research and coming up with the right herbs and the right, combination of what we needed in there to fight things like glaucoma and cataracts and things that attack at the cellular level. So I finally hooked up, after I thought I had the recipe nailed down, I hooked up with a formulator in Southern California, Sonia Tompkins. She owns pH Secrets, and she came up with the idea to be able to infuse them even more so with herbs, chamomile and chickweed, and these herbs that help with swelling and pain and redness and work at the cellular level. So that, combined with the other recipe, we came up with just the most incredible product I could have ever imagined in my life. It's broken down right now to 300 nanometers, which means it doesn't just go through the retina and the cornea, it goes into and through the optic nerve. And she's not even happy with those results. If she can break it down a little farther to 100 nanometers, it'll go through the optic nerve into the bloodstream. I mean, it's absolutely unheard of science. We're working with a professor, I can't even say the name of the school, but a university professor with 88 medical patents, working on this project with us. It's groundbreaking, is to say the least. So we are so proud and so excited to get this out and get some actual results from patients, because the only results we have right now are from my mom, because I made her a guinea pig. She had AD syndrome, which is 2 different size pupils, comes with pain and swelling and, all these other issues. She's had it for 35 years, tried every prescription under the sun, paid just ungodly, $200 for 5 milliliters of fluid, just obscene amounts of money, and nothing helped. And she had all this pain and the burning, all the eye drops burned and burned. She used them literally 1 drop, 1 dose, and in front of my very eyes, I saw her pupils change. She's used them every day since. Her condition is completely reversed. Like in the first 24 hours, before she even went into her 3rd dose of drops, her pupils were the exact same size. This is my mom. This is my entire life she's had this disorder, and it is no longer there. Like, it's mind-blowing is an understatement. Like, I'm not doing it justice because I'm half speechless. I apologize.
One of the things I'm interested in is that one of the problems with CBD as an eye drop in the past has been that CBD is an oil. The eyes are mainly water, and oil and water don't mix. And I'm wondering how your product, the See Better Daily, changes that problem.
Well, we went with nano, micro, encapsulated, water-soluble CBD. So there is no oil in the product.
Oh,
and that's a huge difference. You don't get that, blurred vision for 4 hours, or you know what I mean, where you're trying to work oil out of your eyes. No, it's incredible. It's just incredible.
So are you doing testing around North America at the moment?
We're just starting. We have 50 residents of the U.S. and about 5 residents from Canada right now. We just sent them their, email letting them know what's going on, and we're going to get those samples out next week. So trials will be starting in the next week or so, and then we have, very specific questionnaires for them to be filling out on a daily basis and see where they're at, 1 drop a day, after 7 days, after 14 days. You know what I mean? Keeping an eye on them. They're getting back to us, giving us feedback on how it's going, what's helping, what's not helping, kind of thing. So we should have all of that information in May.
The potential for this is astounding.
Oh, it's through the roof. Like, yeah, there are absolutely no limits. There's, millions and millions of people all over the world that suffer from these conditions.
Yeah, I think cataracts is one of the biggest eye problems in the world.
Right.
Yeah, and this helps with cataracts as well, does it not?
Yes, and actually we use, in our recipe, we use the NAC, and I don't even want to try and pronounce that because I will butcher it, but it's the only drops on the market that have actually been proven to reverse cataracts, and we actually use them in our drops.
N-acetylcarnosine.
There it is. Thank you.
Ian practiced that for 2 hours.
No. Corey, you're embarrassing me.
Okay, it was only an hour.
It was only an hour. That's right. And you also have herbs in it, and the purpose of the herbs is what?
Well, that's where we can get down to the swelling and the redness and that irritation. We use chickweed and we use chamomile and things that are proven to relax and force the blood vessels to, constrict, so they're not so all that pressure, it helps relieve all that pressure there, where it's hard to get to those areas of the eye to actually relieve that pressure.
This is a very exciting product, this See Better Daily. And
thank you.
One of the things that Corey and I talked to Gina before we started the broadcast is that based on some of your testing that you're doing, we would like to possibly sell this product on our website. Right, Corey?
We sure would.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have a listenership around the world, and one of the things that Corey and I have discussed in the past is that in order to keep this thing going, this podcast going, is that we have to sell products. And we want to sell products that are helpful to people, that are valuable, and that are good quality products. And we think this, based on what Corey and I have read and just talking to you, Gina, this, as Corey mentioned, has huge potential around the world to help people with their eye issues, and it is relatively inexpensive, is it not?
amazing. I mean, our bottles are huge as far as eye drops go. Our bottles are 30 milliliters. Most eye drop bottles are 5 to 10 milliliters. So we charge $50 retail for that, and on average, that bottle should last 3+ months. So we're trying to keep the monthly budget, around $20 or so for these drops that could potentially give you lifelong results.
Yeah, and change lives.
Right. We try to pride ourselves on being reasonable, like being here for the average everyday people who cannot afford medicine, and insurance doesn't cover it. So our entire website is kind of a median between wholesale and retail. We're kind of right in that middle because we want people to be able to afford to use these products. Money is an issue. That's real life.
How did your mother, when she first started using the Sea Better Daily and things changed with her, what was her response?
She cried. She cried, like tears poured down her face. Like she just held me and she cried. She couldn't believe it. And she couldn't, I'm her baby in her eyes. She couldn't believe her 43-year-old baby just saved her when her, doctors for 30 years couldn't do anything for her.
I want to know what she was like when you were trying to give her the drops.
Well, hesitant because it's my mom and I'm her daughter, so what do I know? But she's opened herself up more. I've had her on a CBD tincture now for about the last year. She just recently started vaping CBD because of her anxiety, and she's got hypoglycemia, which it's almost helped completely reverse, which I didn't even realize it had that kind of potential. I mean, I've found that out on accident. So that has led her to be more open to this. So she was a little resistant at first, and then was like, F it, I got nothing to lose and everything to gain, and she is now telling anyone that'll listen to her, anyone in the casino or the grocery store or the gas station, whoever will listen to her, she'll sell. Do you think she thought it would work? Honestly, no. I don't think she thought that. I think I've blown her away for sure.
Well done.
Yeah, she was just doing a favor to her daughter, right?
Right, I'm my silly little girl, right?
Yeah, all right, dear, I'll be your guinea pig.
Yeah. Gina, do you have any other stories of people who have tried this product?
Not yet, not with the See Better Daily. Just, myself, my husband, my partner, Lois Leslie. She actually runs the L Bell Originals. I run Mama Epps Hemp, and we have kind of merged together to become this CBD and hemp superstore, hopefully. And we partnered up to try and get into more of this, the medical aspect of it. And I understand that all CBD is medical. So when I say the medical aspect, I'm not talking as much, candies and vape oils and stuff like that. We're talking the eye drops and pain patches in different milligrams and melts for under your tongue and diabetes seizure control sprays. You know what I mean? More specific, for lack of a better term, to the big FU to big pharma. We want to be the alternative. We want to let people know you don't have to have these side effects. You can get help in almost anything you're suffering from naturally.
What about migraines?
Undoubtedly migraines. And not just that, topically. I used to get migraines terribly. I mean, just terribly. I'd have to close myself in the room, lights out, fan on, head under the covers, couldn't hear a noise, anything. I use it topically. I rub CBD directly into my head and temples, also take a tincture under the tongue, and use a drop of the eye drops. And I don't think people understand, but a lot of migraines stem from kind of behind the eye. And it's almost impossible to get to those areas. So, you got something like that, you can fight it from internally, your eye, externally on your skin. You're getting it from these different angles, and the migraine is just no match for it.
What website can people go to find your product?
Our website is www.ellebelloriginals.net. It's lbelloriginals.net.
lbelloriginals.net. When you look back at your life and what it was like 20 years ago, did you ever think you'd be where you are today?
Oh my gosh, no. I mean, not even remotely close. So we are. I thought I'd be teaching forever. I thought I'd be doing my PE and health thing, and playing sports for a living and talking about eating well and, you know, living well, and now I have this platform where I can teach half the world. You know what I mean? I can tell people things from personal experience, not from what I read in a book or what from someone else told me I should tell somebody, or, you know what I mean? It's actual life and experience, the things that will change your life and give you a better quality of life. I mean, just night and day.
It was that damn hemp paper that the Constitution was written on.
It's where it all began.
Gina, we look forward to doing more of this in the future and having your product on our website. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys too. One love.
Thanks, Gina, very, very much.
And there you have it, another edition of Cannabis Health Radio. Wherever you are in the world, thanks very much for listening.
You've been listening to the Cannabis Health Radio podcast. Visit our website, cannabishealthradio.com, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter.